Hello everyone and welcome to a quick video on sound actually. I've talked to a few of you either over email or in person regarding some things that maybe people want to know before heading into the final stages of your final project. A specific thing that keeps coming up is sound and sort of how to deal with it more in a more complex way. What we're going to be doing is stopping sounds in the timeline and showing you a very quick fade in and fade out. I've mentioned this in many a critique. Uh, Using sound as sort of a textural element, really, I think, and I think you can think back on that Belly movie, which had obviously very complex dialogue, but a lot of background sound that was done very simply, but very effective. I think it gives a very complete sort of feel and notion to, a 2D animation. And I would really encourage you to use it. That SoundJ website, that's where I got this wind file that I'm about to use here, is an easy place to get these. So what I'm going to do is show you how to deal with sound in layers and stop the sound via the properties. So I've uploaded or I've downloaded a sound called wind.wave. This is a fairly long file, and we can sort of check it out here. I thought I had the time here. I believe it's 56 seconds, but it's a longer sound file. And I want to use it, but I don't want to use all of it. So I'm going to show you how to stop the sound as we go from scene 1 to 2, and then I'm going to show you where you can sort of fade in and fade out. Okay. First thing I want to do is I want to insert a new layer, and I'm going to call this sound. Just as an aside, this is not an exercise that you need to do. This is, whoops, this is more or less just showing you something. You don't have to do this. In fact, there's not extra credit like there is with or credit like there is with the SynFig exercises, but rather just showing you something like I did on the, I think, dealing with images a couple weeks ago. Here's the sound layer. It has a blank keyframe or keyframe on that first frame. And what you do is simply grab and lay this sound down. Okay. Now, we've seen this before with other sound files. It sort of populates the sound across that. Okay. What I want to do, you remember we have two scenes in this movie. When we go from scene 1 to scene 2, I want to unload the sound or I want to stop the sound. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a keyframe, okay, and that keyframe is going to allow it so that at this point we can stop the sound, okay. That keyframe is very important. So what I'm going to do is go over here, and you'll see that it says on the properties window we have sound. It sort of recognizes what I'm dealing with, and I'm going to choose the wave file, okay, and under sync I'm going to do stop, okay. So it's basically going to stop the sound right there. Okay, if I don't have that keyframe, it's going to stop the sound on that entire group and essentially not play the sound. That's not what we want. Okay, so I'm going to save this and I'm going to test this movie. And you can hopefully hear that. And then we cut there. Okay, this would be useful when you're cutting from one scene to another, etc. You'll see that when we go back here, it starts the sound up again. Okay. So it's basically telling that sound to stop. Okay. Now, if you don't want if you don't want an abrupt sort of end to that, we can do something else. And I'm going to sort of back up to the point that I don't have that keyframe. Okay. And I'm going to click on that last keyframe there. And in this one, I'm going to do effect. Okay. And I'm going to do a fade out. Okay. So let's see here. Once I click the fade out, there's this little basically edit, and it's called the sound envelope, and you can fade the sound out. Now, this is a little cranky to work with. I'm going to zoom out of this file, and I'm also going to show it in terms of frames. Okay, you can see it in terms of time. You see like 10, 20 seconds, and this is as long as the sound is. Remember I said it was 50-something seconds long, so here we can sort of see that. Or we can see this over a period of frames, okay? Now, what you can do is basically, I'll sort of show you this by zooming out, you can basically use these guys right here And depending on whether you're looking at it in terms of frames or time, I'll look at it in terms of frames because I know this first one is 150 frames long. I'll sort of zoom in so I can see that. Why don't I sort of fade out in between frames 100 and 150? Okay, what that will do is sort of start the sound, but at about 2/3 of the way through it, it will fade it out. So I'm going to hit OK there. So I hit OK there. And let's see here. Let's save this, and we are going to test this movie. And you should hear about right here starts to fade out. Okay, it doesn't load up on that second scene. We don't have any sound there. I'm just going to go back here. You can hopefully hear it. There's the first 2/3 of that 150 frames, and we fade out. Okay, so pretty easy way to pretty easy way via this fade in, fade out to adjust sound. Okay, it'll sort of show you the entire thing, but I basically have the volume totally all the way down by frame 150. Okay. Hopefully you found that helpful. Again, I really encourage you to use sound in this sort of textural, atmospheric, setting the mood, whatever you want to call it, way. I think it's quite useful. I think it's an efficient way to make your movie sort of look and feel more complete. Email me with any questions about sound, but hopefully via those two, the stop and the fade in and fade out, or in this case fade out, you will be able to use this in a more complex way.